Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel. I'm here to talk about Shadowhunters, episode 108, titled Bad Blood, and it premiered Tuesday, March 1st, 2016 on Freeform. So sorry for the delay. I didn't actually get a chance to watch it until the weekend. So, now I'm here to talk. So, let's begin with the 10-minute clock, and here we go. So, something that we learned in this episode. So, basically, this episode introduces Lydia Branwell, an envoy from the Clave that is sent to investigate the Institute, specifically the Lightwoods that are in charge of running the Institute. And apparently, she's a distant cousin of Clary's. They just slipped it in there. So, with Lydia Branwell, we learned quite a bit from her. We learned that Robert and Mars Lightwood are ex-Circle members. They were in Valentine's inner circle. So that's a shock to Alec. He feels like that information right there has tilted everything he's grown up to believe in, everything he's worked towards, and it's now just slipping away from him because of this huge secret that he found out about his parents. We also learned from Lydia that she lost her husband and she lost her job beforehand, and so she's bonded with Alec over the whole having a responsibility and duties as Shadowhunter and stuff like that. So in the end, with Lydia Branwell, though, she comes to a decision about Robert and Mars that Alec doesn't really like, but instead he proposes to Lydia in a marriage of convenience so that they could run the Institute together. So there's that part. Also, we get an attack from a Forsaken on the werewolves first, which then brings the body to the Institute where Magnus is invited to do an autopsy, and he reports that there's no magic in creating this Forsaken who's not really a Forsaken. He seems more powered and more focused than what a Forsaken usually appears to be. And then later on, Izzy discovers that there's angel blood in this Forsaken 2.0, and because of the angel blood, they gain access into the Institute, and one Forsaken attacks Hodge inside the Institute, and later on Alec, who tries to intervene before Hodge takes him out by snapping his neck. So there's that. They definitely know it's Valentine who's behind all of it because it smells Valentine for sure. Also, on a side note, again, we get Raphael, the vampire, returning with a dead Simon in his arms. So Clary is struck with the decision she has to make for Simon. She either stakes him in the heart and lets him die a human death, or she buries his body and hopes that he crawls himself out of his grave and he'll live his life as a vampire, or he would just be trapped in the grave to live his life basically suffering and hungry for eternity, where his soul can't move on. So Clary is stuck with that hard decision. She has to deal with Simon's mother, trying to figure out what to tell her. We also see her going to Luke to try to figure out what may be the best solution for Simon, and through Luke we hear the story of what happened shortly after he was bitten and attacked by werewolves, how he wanted to die. He didn't want to become a werewolf, and he feared of hurting Jocelyn, but Jocelyn wouldn't let him think that. She wouldn't turn her back on him. So Luke just warned Clary that if Simon were to become a vampire, he's in for a very long road ahead of him. And so we see that Clary makes the decision to bury Simon and give him a chance as a vampire. But before they could do that, Camille interrupts, claiming she wants her property back, which is Simon. But with Camille, Raphael formally announces that she has been breaking the accords. She killed Simon, which is against the accords, and Raphael clearly pointed out that it's not the vampires who want a war, but Camille, so he overthrows her and has all the vampires she calls upon turn on her. And then shortly after that's being taken care of, they deal with Simon, who reemerges as a vampire, and he freaks out and sees himself as a monster and runs off. So there's that. There's no actual new runes introduced in this episode, I don't believe. However, there was a rune that Lydia used. When she's first introduced, she comes in as Valentine, and then she uses a rune on her arm and reveals her true self. So I'm not sure if that's actually a glamour rune or if it's a completely different rune in itself. Because before now, I thought the glamour rune was hiding in plain sight, the invisibility rune. So maybe that's two different runes completely, but the one Lydia uses is definitely a rune to mention for sure. Makes you need to wonder just who exactly are you talking to, if you know what I mean. So most shocking moment of the episode for me has to be that Alec proposed to Lydia. I wasn't expecting that. Sure, I was all prepared for his parents trying to arrange a marriage for him, like Izzy warned him of earlier, or she was warned about. But I never thought Alec would actually propose to someone as his idea. So that was shocking in itself for sure. So moving on to top favorite moments. First one has to be Magnus and Izzy doing the autopsy on the Forsaken. When they were talking about Alec, they were just spitballing ideas of what could be occupying Alec's time, because Magnus was wondering if her brother is interested in him, and then they just kept spitballing as if it's normal to talk about her brother like that, which is kind of funny. The dynamic between them, I really liked it, and I hope we see more of it for sure. Plus, we also get Magnus's reaction to the idea of her parents trying to find a wife for Alec, and he seemed stunned by it. So that was interesting to see, I should say. Next favorite moment has to be Raphael the vampire. I mean, this episode, it completely turned my view around on him. I mean, sure, he kidnapped Simon that one episode, and then he allowed him to go back home with Clary and the others. But this episode, Raphael brought Simon's body back. He gave Clary the choices, and he gave his word to Clary that he'll watch out for Simon. I mean, this episode right here completely changed my view about that vampire, and I think maybe they do have a trusted ally in him. And if he is the new leader of the vampires in New York, then maybe they have the vampires on their side. So I definitely like the Raphael we saw in this episode, and I hope we get to see more of it for sure. And it'll be interesting to see how he mentors Simon in his new vampire life. So that'll be interesting to see as well. Next favorite moment has to be Clary and Luke. Their talk about Simon and also about Jocelyn and the flashbacks we got to see with them as well. So it was great to talk about how Luke found strength in the fact that Jocelyn and Clary needed him. That's why he continued to fight and live as a werewolf. It was great to know that Clary will always need Luke. It was great to know that he viewed Simon as a son, so if Simon were to come back as a vampire, he would be there for him like Jocelyn was there for Luke. And it's just that great family support system. Even though they're missing a part of their family, it's great to still see it working and as close as ever. Next favorite moment for me has to be Chase and Clary, especially when they're talking about emotions. In this episode, we learn the story from Chase about how a little 6-year-old boy was told by his father to train a falcon to obey. After a very long time, the little boy managed to succeed, and he told his father, only to have the father snap the falcon's neck. And the little boy learned that he was told to get the falcon to obey. He was not told to love the falcon. So it's another great little tidbit of history, because it's obviously Chase, because he comes out later on saying that if he were to do things because of what his heart told him to do, he can never do his job as a Shadowhunter. So for him, Shadowhunters are their best when they don't listen to their heart, when they listen to their head. But then Clary counters, well, that's the opposite of what mundanes live. Mundanes live with the knowledge that you do what your heart tells you to do. You are ruled by your emotions. You go with your emotions. So they're at two completely different spectrums. And yet in this episode, you are seeing Chase not hesitate in embracing the emotions. He is there when Clary needs that comfort from him, when she's dealing with Simon's death, when she's dealing with Simon's rejection of her after he comes back as a vampire. Chase is there. Jace is there. He doesn't hesitate to breach that line with her, even though it's emotions that he shouldn't be dwelling on, according to what he said earlier. So I just really liked that. He was there for her, and he even said he hasn't taken his eyes off Clary since she found the cup. So There's that too. Another favorite moment I liked was the fight between Hodge and the Forsaken. Mainly because we got to see Hodge in action and actually see what he was capable of doing. And I really liked that for sure. And I hope we see more of it too, because I don't think he sees a lot of field action while stuck in the Institute. So there's that. Another favorite moment, last one, I swear, is Simon's resurrection as a vampire. I know it shouldn't be, but just to see this version of how a fledgling is brought back, and how there's the timer, and how they deal with the vampire, and learning from Raphael about what the transition is going to be like, and then just Simon's reaction to being a vampire, and then Clary's reaction to Simon being a vampire. I shouldn't like it, but I love the emotion between them. It's raw, and it's actually them dealing full on the fact that Simon is now this new being. I mean, for Clary, she was always a Shadowhunter. She just never knew it. But for Simon, he is turning into a completely different species, a different creature. And it scares him. And for Clary, she is scared for Simon, yet she didn't want to lose him. And that's why she subjected him to this transformation. So I just really like the raw emotion between the whole interaction, and the fact that all these little things that Clary brought up about Simon, about how he's still the same guy. Yes, he has fangs, and yes, he has a thirst for blood, but he's still her best friend. He's still the guy she grew up with. And I really like how much conviction she has in that. Even though his hunger that he woke up with kind of terrified her. And why wouldn't it? He was a messy eater, for sure. So, top 3 peeved moments. I only have one, and that is the fact that Alec proposed to Lydia. And I don't like that, especially after that talk that Alec had with Magnus about doing what's right for himself and doing what his heart told him. Because after that conversation, Alec agreed, and it made me think, okay, maybe he's going to pursue things with Magnus and see where that goes. But no, instead, he goes and proposes to Lydia. So that just makes no sense. And it's like, is he following his heart because his heart lies with his Shadowhunter duties and that's why? Or it's like, I don't even know. It's like, no, I don't trust her. I'm just saying it right now. And I don't want to see Magnus heartbroken when he finds out. Yeah, I like Magnus. So what will I remember most about this episode when I look back? The fact that we got to see Vampire Simon. I mean, the episode is called Bad Blood. It's kind of a vampire reference right there. So there's that. So random questions. First, is Camille really out of the picture with Raphael as the new vampire leader? Or did they just like dish out some punishment to her or something? Because all we saw with Camille was that all the vampires swarmed around her as Clary walked away after punching her. Not really saying what happened to her, and then later on when Raphael joins Clary and Chase, he just says it's done, and that's it. So I'm wondering what exactly happened to Camille, and if we're actually going to see her again or not. So next question. Could Clary put an object inside of something and then put that inside of something? I mean, the way I'm thinking is that, is it possible that Clary could put the Mortal Cup inside the card, the tarot card, and then is it possible for her to put that tarot card in some other picture, so like it's double to security to get the cup? Or is that just too excessive? I'm just wondering if it's actually possible, if her powers can actually do the doubling of something like that, or if it's just me being kooky and all that. I don't know. What do you think? Last question. Do you trust Lydia Branwell? Absolutely not. I do not trust her whatsoever, especially if she's coming from the Clave. I don't trust her. And if she's a distant cousin of Clary, I really hope it's on Jocelyn's side of the family and she's not related to Valentine. So there's that. And also the name of her husband, it really sounded strangely familiar. And I don't know if that's because it's something we've heard already, or if it's something I remember hearing from the books, even though I've only read the first 3 and it's been a while since I've read them. So I'm wondering if maybe it was a fake backstory she gave us. I don't know. I don't trust her at all, and the fact that Alec proposed to her makes me not trust her even more. So there's that. But what do you guys think about her? Let me know in the comments below. And moving on to predictions very quickly, based off the promo for episode 109, it looks like, well, they're setting it up for a war is brewing. It is coming to town. And it also looks like Simon is adjusting to vampire life. He even looks like he has gone a bit darker in his look, donning the leather, no glasses. So it's going to get some getting used to seeing this version of Simon, but it'll definitely be interesting how he takes this whole transformation of his. Also, with Vampire Simon, it seems, my prediction is that he's going to be on opposite sides with Clary when it comes to the war, because he's definitely going to side with the vampires. He's not going to side with the Shadowhunters unless it benefits him, because he is a vampire now. So he has to look out for himself in that regard first. And but I hope Raphael, if he is the leader, does side with the Shadowhunters, unlike the Sealies who are siding with Valentine. And another prediction, there was a brief mention of no turning back, so I think that there is going to be a point of no return that is going to be coming up soon. So we're going to have to look out for that. Hopefully it's not, if point of no return means that it can't be stopped or can't be reversed, so I'm a little worried about what that could be. And that's what it. So what did you guys think of the episode? What did you like about it? What surprised you? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want to check out my Tumblr page, I have a link for Shadowhunters down below. I reblog any of the Shadowhunter stuff that pops up on my dashboard, also as promos, web clips, synopses, GIFs, quotes, anything like that. Link for the specific episode is down below, as well as the master tag list of any Shadowhunter related tags. For that link, just scroll down to the very bottom and you hit the Shadowhunter section. So there is that. And that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. So sorry for the delay. I was busy again with work this week and a whole bunch of different deadlines as well. But hopefully next week I'll be caught up on everything again as scheduled like before. But I hope you guys come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, this is Mel wishing you a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.